Annyeonghaseyo, guys, and welcome back to Katawa Shoujo. So we are in front of Amy's room, where she is sick, and we are paying her a visit. You were too much, come in, the doors are locked. So it is. I open the door and step in, which is about where my thought process comes to a grinding halt. Amy is sitting up on her bed, her hair tossed in a dazed bed asleep. I think this is the first time I've seen her without those familiar beads in her hair. Well, I think she looks better without the beads. Just my opinion. Oh, look at that! It's a cute picture! And she still has gym uniforms on. I mean, I think. Unless her pajamas looks like... I don't know. Her gym short shirt and bloomers. Oh, as I was talking about them, obviously hastily pulled on before I came in. Are creased and folded in less than proper storage. Her legs lay bare on the sheets. I've never seen Emmy without prosthetics before, yet here she is, slender legs terminating in stumps just below her knees. But as odd as the sight is, I find myself more captivated by everything north of the waist. Oh. It seems that Amy had finished her conversation with whoever was on the phone with her, and is now watching my reaction closely out of her one open eye as she wipes sleep from the other. Her expression, far from being embarrassed, is rather one of a surprisingly wide yawn, one perhaps appropriate from such a small mouth. Show image! I guess I'll use this one as a thumbnail. Looks a grin that for a brief moment seems almost flirtatious tugs at the corner of her mouth as she takes the sight of me in. I can do nothing but remain in a state fluctuating between fear, confusing, and not a little bit of lust. Amy hastily sweeps her hair out of her eyes, fixing it back into place before addressing me. Oh. Beats! Or whatever he called them. You seem a bit caught off guard, he saw. A wave of laughter erupts from her, and I find myself grinning and rubbing the back of my head ruefully. Sorry, I've just never seen someone so disheveled to look so attractive. Never seen you without your legs on. Never seen you look so... sorry. Amy giggles and moves to sit up a little straighter. I caught up in her moving her skirt, very nearly losing myself. She's not wearing any skirts. What are you talking about? I was wondering what your reaction would be. The nurse called and told me you were going to drop by, you see. And I know you haven't seen me. Well, you know, without legs. I responded in a tone of casual surprise. Oh, you don't have them on? I didn't know this. This is almost the truth. I very nearly didn't. I'm not trying to be suave or anything, mind you. Somehow I think Amy would get offended by that. Instead, she sticks her tongue out at me and chucks a pillow at my head. Ass! I deftly catch the pillow and carefully aim before throwing. Amy laughs and rolls to one side, dodging my shot. The shifting of her skirt distracted me enough so the next thrown pillow hits me right between the eyes. Oof! Alright, pillow fight! I retaliate, of course. And once I retaliated twice, well, a war was bound to break out sooner or later. And really, when Amy appears to have far better aim than me, well, it's just a matter of time before I had to resort to suicidal charge. Gotcha! Eep! Bam! Smack! Are you beating her up for something? And once the charge was accomplished, well, of course, I had to wrestle the pillows away from her. And with that kind of struggle, of course, I'd wound up in this sort of position. And so I find myself staring down at her from my position atop her. She's still not wearing any skirt, bro. What are you talking about? She's grinning, eyes sparkling with amusement, maybe a little sweaty from our little tussle. Her chest is heaving up and down, sucking air. A small bit of my brain that is not currently enraptured by the sight and the smell of her observed that she must still be ill, because of her stamina is not what it should be. We stayed that way for a while. I'm not sure how long, because everything seems to go fuzzy. Everything that isn't her, anyway. Her eyes meet mine, and deep inside them I almost catch a glimpse of, what? Fear? Longing? Hope? Emmy? A cough suddenly convulses her, and I almost stumble in my haste to get off, to apologize for everything. Sorry, I shouldn't have. It's fine, it's fine. She gives me a reassuring pat on the shoulder. So, what brings you here? She's still breathing hard, and that causes her voice to shake slightly. Well, before I was so rudely assaulted by pillows, I came to see how you were doing. Wham! This earns me another shove, and I very nearly fall off her bed. Hemi's eyes sparkle again, and I wonder how I never noticed how attractive they are before. Consumed with worry, were you? Her tone is mocking, haughty teasing. She throws her arm across her forehead, dramatically grins, still apparent from underneath. Couldn't bear the thought of me laying deathly ill? As we both recover from our brief wrestling match, Emmy appears to fall back on teasing me. Well, I wouldn't say consumed with worry, but after you didn't show up this morning like a total wuss. Amy pouts, crossing her arms petulantly and sticking her lower lip out. It's not my fault. Nurse wouldn't allow it. Sure, he wouldn't. I completely believe you. Amy sticks her tongue out again. You're such a jerk, Hisao. So, how was your day then? Did you enjoy slacking off? Not really. The phone woke me up pretty early on. The phone? Yeah, the captain of the team called to make sure I was doing okay. Also to let me know it was okay to skip practice. Good. At least she wasn't alone all day. Someone checked up on her. Although I can't help but think that it should have been me. Oh, that's good. He really keeps an eye on you, huh? Amy shrugs. It's his job. Part of being the captain means you know where your team members are when they're not in school. Still, I guess it was nice of him to call, huh? Yep, sure is. Or sure was. Emmy yawns and shimmies down into a more comfortable position. So, how was your day? Kind of uneventful, you know? I went ahead and ran by myself and talked with the nurse about how you were doing. I meandered through the day's event, none of which are particularly engrossing. That's when I'm distracted by an arm finding its way across my waist. It seems that Emmy fell asleep while I was talking, so I drew her blanket to cover us. Ah, they're sleeping together. Well, Hisao is not really sleeping. She rolled over on her side, and now one leg is thrown over my legs, effectively trapping me. Hey! It seems a shame to wake her, but I have things to do. I gently shake her, but in response she only tightens her arm grip on me and sighs a little. My resistance to this position crumbles rather quickly. The feelings of her body breathing steadily is both calming and incredibly stimulating at the same time. My breathing cannot decide if it wants to relax or speed up. Relaxation wins. And I find myself putting an arm around Emmy. Oh, do ya? The words slip out and hang in the air unnoticed. At least I hope they've gone unnoticed. Amy whimpers weakly through her dream, and her grip suddenly tightens again. For the first time since I've known her, I see tears running down Emmy's face. It feels like my heart is about to break. I instinctively tighten my own grip and stroke her hair in what I hope is a soothing manner. Words of comfort, meaningless in this situation, spring to mind. Maybe I should wake her. Are you supposed to wake people having nightmares? I can't for the life of me remember. The decision is taken from me as Amy suddenly jerks away with a cry. This is more than I think I want to hear without her knowing. I quickly sit upright, gently shake her shoulder to stir her. Hey, you okay? What a silly question. Huh? What? Hisao? She shakes her head as if to clear it and quickly wipes her eyes. You had a nightmare, I think. Amy shudders again and glances up at me a little cautiously, as if unsure whether or not she's actually up. Yeah, I guess so. You want to talk about it? A speedy internal debate seems to be going on in her head, which resolves itself with a shrug. Nah, I don't really remember much of it. I'm pretty sure she's lying to me, but somehow I don't think I should press the issue. Amy shudders again and turns towards me, looking a little sheepish. Sorry for falling asleep on you like that. I keep my voice as soothing as I can. Hey, don't worry about it. You've been ill. Yeah, I guess that cold medicine just made me a little drowsy. I guess so. Amy does not strike me as the sort of person who'd fall asleep at a drop of a hat. Rin, maybe, but Amy's far too energetic. Amy gives a half smile at my response, and then just like that she's back to her old self. Well, prepare yourself for tomorrow morning, Hisao. We'll have to go twice as hard to make up for today. But I went running this morning. No excuse! Oh fine, I'll be ready for you. Amy nods satisfied. Good! I take this as my cue to exit. Well, I'd better get going, especially if I want to get enough sleep for tomorrow. I hop off the bed and head for the door. Hey, Hisao. I pivot neatly on my heel and face Emmy. She opens her mouth to say something, and then, in another first, I see her falter slightly. She closes her mouth and opens it again. Thanks. For dropping by, I mean. You're kind of the first visitor I ever had who wasn't Rin. Now that's surprising. I would figure that Amy's had people dropping by all the time. She's certainly popular enough, or so I thought, always talking to people in the hallways. Emmy hesitates again. And thanks for staying around after well... A look of pain flits across her face. You know, it helped. He brightens back up and waves cheerily at me. See you tomorrow. Yeah, see you later. I'm just about to exit the door when something makes me turn around again. Hey, Emmy. Anytime you need to talk, let me know, okay? Emmy seems taken aback by this offer. Her grin gets even wider. Sure thing, Hisao. See you in the morning. I exit Emmy's room with my head in a whirl. Should I have even left? Was she okay? I want to turn around and march back down the hallway, open the door and tell her. I want to stay there, hold her close, and she falls back to sleep. How many nights has she been woken up like that? Only to find that nobody's there. I want to be the person she can be with when that happens. It's a silly thought, I know. We don't know each other that well, do we? The whole idea, while exhilarating, also makes me feel worry. Worry perhaps that I'd overstepped my bounds. And now to add to my troubles, it seems as if Emmy herself already has an interest in someone else. This track captain of hers who seems so interested in her well-being. True, I've only seen the two of them together a few times, but that doesn't change the fact that they seem better suited to one another. There's really nothing to be done about that. I need to take my mind off of this whole situation. I've got homework to do. Maybe that'll distract me. Eye catch! Oh, here we go. Katawa Shoujo! Katawa Shoujo. A night of restlessness has left me feeling fairly groggy this morning. The events of the previous day kept intruding upon my mind. The memory of how Amy felt against me, the memory of our wrestling match, and most bothersome, the memory of her nightmare. She was in so much pain. I can't stop wondering what it must be like for her to wake up with nobody there. The shower shocks me awake with hot water. Awake! But still worried. What will happen today? Will things just go back to normal? End of the episode? Back to the status quo? There was a connection yesterday, and it nearly pushed us past the boundaries of a normal friendship. Would that have been so bad? My mind goes back to the look in Amy's eyes after our pillow fight. It almost seemed like she was daring me to go on. Almost. But I can't know for sure. Anyway, track captain's probably first in her affections. But even if I say that, my mind is already snorting derisively. I'm just looking for an excuse, a reason for everything to go wrong. A reason to not try. It's not as if I've even seen the two of them together outside the track practice. A cleaner he's never visited. Amy said as much herself. If they were close, surely he'd visit. I'm such a wuss. I ought to go for anyway. Damn the consequences. That's what Amy would do. I think. Hell, I know that's what she'd do. Which is partially why I'm convinced there's no interest in her end. She hasn't acted either. Maybe because of this track captain. I suppose she got a bit of an unrequited crush thing going on. But who would be able to clarify their relationship? It sure as hell can't be Emmy. She'd probably just laugh and ask why I wanted to know, and I'm not ready to answer that yet. Rin would probably give me some cryptic answer or something. And then with my luck, she'd just ask Emmy, who would ask me why I wanted to know, and I've already covered that problem. I wonder. Could I get away with asking the nurse? This is pretty protective of Amy. I'm sure he'd know if something was up. And he owes me for not letting Amy know He forgot to tell me about her being ill, so he'll keep quiet. What if he asks me why I want to know, though? I can't shake him off. Just say I'm curious as a friend. He'll buy that, won't he? Of course. That's settled then. After the run, I'll talk to him while Amy's waiting outside the office. Well, aren't you? There's no sign of Amy when I arrived at track. Is she still ill? Still too ill? I decided to give her 10 minutes. I'm a little early, and she was ill yesterday. So if she takes a while to show up, it shouldn't be surprising. Still, I'd hate to waste my time, so occupy myself by stretching and pacing back and forth anxiously. What if I went too far yesterday? What if she doesn't come because she's embarrassed? What if... You think too much, Hisao! You're early again, Hisao! I'm impressed! Just like that, I feel some tension leaving my body. Amy seems to be bright and cheerful as usual, with no sign that she was ill the other day, much less had a less than restful sleep. Still, I have to ask, sleep well last night? It's just a throwaway question. Small talk. Small talk. The sort of thing people ask someone to bump into the cafe while getting their morning coffee. Not for us. At least not for me. I don't know if Amy realizes that I'm actually concerned about how well she slept last night, but the question does give her pause. After a short moment of what seems her genuinely pondering this, she nods. Yep, sure did. Was it because of me? Did I actually help? Or are you just saying that to get me to stop asking questions? Good to hear. Amy grins and begins warming up. So, ready to begin? Pfft, am I ready? Of course I'm ready. I was born ready. Amy laughs at my bravado, and we take off running. Festive of it, I keep a steady pace the whole time, breathing steadily. I still feel dead at the end, but at least I don't grasp like a fish out of water now. Amy is possibly beaming after a run today. Nice job, Hisao. You're improving. You'll be half as fast as me in no time. The last line is delivered with a teasing grin and I've grown all too used to. Oh, how exciting. Amy begins to run her sprints while I take cool down lap. She's really pushing herself today. By the time I'm done with my lap, she's laying across one of the bleachers, looking exhausted. Goodness, not pushing it a little too much today, are you? You did have a cold, you'll recall. Amy gives me a annoyed snort and sits up. Bah! I'm just trying to make up for lost time, that's all. I went twice as hard today, you know. As a good run always gets the kinks out, you know. Clears the mind too. Oh? Amy nods vigorously. Yep, it's a great outlet for that sort of thing. She does not explain further and I don't ask. I suspect I know the real reason she went so hard today. Being sick had nothing to do with it. Something's bothering her. Maybe the nightmare. Maybe something else. But it's not my place to pry. She'd tell me if she wanted me to know. I'm sure that comes in handy. You have no idea. The sincerity in her voice confirms my suspicions. The only problem is, even though I know she'd tell me if she wanted me to know, I still want to know. Something on your mind then? Amy doesn't seem surprised by my question. Instead she shrugs. Nah, it's not worth getting worried about. She seems as if trying to convince herself as much as she's convincing me. I opened my mouth to ask if yesterday's is responsible for her current state of mind, but think better of it. Too much of risk of taking the question the wrong way. Besides, I'm not even sure myself what to think about yesterday. Really, I can only get about as far as I felt have Amy sleeping next to me before my brain shuts down. Having her before me now, covered in sweat and looking wryly at me, she's making it difficult to think. Yeah, I hear ya. We better hurry to see the nurse. We're running short on time. Aren't we always? Amy laughs at this, a dry chuckle that seems most un-Amy-like. Too true. For a brief moment she looks old, worn down by some old hurt. But just like yesterday, I can almost see her shouldering the burden of straightening up slightly. And then she's back to being Amy again. Come on, Hisao. Race ya. Pew! With a sudden smile, she jogs off. Hey, no fair! I take off after her, knowing I won't catch her, but not caring. Even if there's no chance of catching her, I'll still run after her. Amy's waiting for me at the door as I arrive. Well, well, look who finally showed up. Yeah. Enjoy your victory while you can. Amy grins. The nurse pokes his head out of the door. Well, there you are. Come on in, Hisao. In what has become a familiar routine by now, he checks my blood pressure and my heart rate. A bit fast today, isn't it? Yeah, I kinda raced Amy here. The nurse laughs. That's never a good idea. He leans to whisper me in the conspiratory manner. I don't know if you heard, but Emmy's a bit of a track star. I reeled back in mock surprise. Really? She never mentioned it before. The two of us share a laugh. Did she do okay today? Could she... Cold seem to bother her? Why don't you ask her? He rolls his eyes in exasperation. Of course I'm going to ask her too, but she's telling me that she didn't have any problems regardless of whether or not she did. So I'm asking you because you're her friend that will probably tell me if she had trouble today. When he puts it on that way, it makes a lot of sense. She seemed pretty good today. If a little more tired than usual. She is already feeling better when I dropped by yesterday, so I'm not that surprised. The nurse nods, though I noticed she tenses slightly when I mentioned yesterday's visit. Well, that's good to hear. I figured it was just a 24-hour thing. Emmy tends to recover quickly from colds and the like. Hey, speaking of Emmy, are she and the track captain, well, you know... A look of suspicion crosses his face. Why do you ask? Well, it's just that they seem kind of close, and I was just curious, you know? And I never asked her because that would be kind of embarrassing. So far so good. Now to really sell it. Besides, I think they'd make a... Well, I don't suppose you're the first to think that. But I think I can say with some certainty that the two of them will never do anything like that. Certainty? Yep. Not that I could tell you, of course. Confidentiality and all that. Yeah, right. You just like holding a secret over my head. That too. Right. Get out of here. I'm a businessman, you know. I roll my eyes at the last statement and head out the door, motioning to Emmy to go in. The whole time I'm trying to keep from doing a celebratory dance. The two of them would never do anything like that. That's precisely the sort of thing I want to hear. I'm half tempted to make some sort of move on Amy now, but I think the nurse would probably disapprove. Besides, I still don't know how Amy feels about me. I mean, it's obvious that she cares about me as a friend. Something more than that. I can't be certain. Even so, I can't help but feel hopeful. I just need to figure out a good time to tell Amy exactly how I feel. The bottle should keep quiet for the rest of the day at least. And this is where I end this part. I think I recorded 20 or 25 minutes. Dropping by. Save the game. Yay! So I'm gonna give you guys with a high five! Hey, where's Emmy? She didn't show up this morning. Is she okay? Well, I try valiantly to conceal my anxiety in my voice. The expression suggested that I failed miserably. You mean she didn't tell you? She's sick in bed, I knew it.